Good morning everyone, and welcome to another energy report. I'll say good morning, it's morning for me now, but I guess it might not be whenever you're watching this, but welcome and hello anyway. It is Sunday the 9th of April 2023, and today we're moving into the energy of White World Bridger. I'm a bit sleepy this morning, I will be honest. I've had quite a long week, and my energy levels are in need of a reboot, but I decided I was going to try and get this out on time for you all. Plus it's a nice day. It's a little bit cloudy at the moment, but that's not such a bad thing. The sun's been coming in and out, and it's dry and it's not too windy which is a bonus. So here we go. So White World Bridger. This energy that is coming in today and for the next 13 days, the World Bridger can be kind of likened to the Hanged Man in tarot. So it sometimes has a wrongly perceived negative about it. So it kind of does represent death, but not particularly in a morbid way, or not in a mortal way, not death necessarily in regards to human life and that kind of worry, but more it's about this idea that you can't have life without death, and these sort of never-ending cycles that you get in nature of death and rebirth, and how that is essential to any kind of growth, whether that be human growth or plants, nature, trees. The world around us evolves around this concept of birth, life, death, rebirth. And the death process is a really important part of that cycle. Plants need to die in order to feed all the nutrients back into the earth to grow again the next season. And I've talked about this quite a lot in different circles and different situations, that we as human beings also need a death element. And I don't mean dying, I mean the quieter times, that we need to retreat, we need to take, we need to stop occasionally. We can't be constantly growing. I don't want to get into politics, but capitalism has kind of conditioned us to always be striving, growing, this never-ending upward trend, and that's not sustainable. We need to ebb and flow and go a bit more like this. And you need these lulls and these down patches. Yeah, like me today, I'm feeling a bit. Listen, the weather. It's not even that. I'm just feeling low in energy, and that's okay. It's okay to just stop for a few days, a few hours, a week, and let everything that comes with that happen. Feel the lull, feel the downward drift, feel the emotions, feel the sadness, feel grief if necessary, and then use that then as fuel once that starts to lift. Once we've expressed all those downward emotions, it's easier then for us to come out the other side and start to lift and grow and head back up again into spring, summer, autumn. So that's the kind of general feel of this energy, and it's very easy to just see the negative side of it. So what I ask of you, I think, in these next 2 weeks is to maybe just sort of take a pause and think about how you yourself relate to these down periods. Do you class them as a negative, something to always be overcome, something to to not accept, to dislike? Or can you accept it as a natural part of life and necessary to then have the upward growth and energy spurt at the other side of it? So the last wave spell, the Red Skywalker, was talking about creating your heaven on earth. So another of the trends and the things to think about in these next 2 weeks is what needs to die in order for you to create that vision of heaven, or to create whatever you want to create in life. Because some of the things that we carry with us are actually preventing us from moving forwards. That could be a toxic relationship, or it could be something about your physical environment. It could be a physical or an emotional attachment, or either to a person or to a situation. I don't like to give too specific examples because the same concept can be applied in so many different circumstances. But I think it's kind of the idea of being just as a random example, being in a home situation that you think you can't get out of, where you're living. Being dissatisfied with where you live, whether that be down to another family member or a neighbour, or just it being being dissatisfied with the decor or the maintenance of your home, or and maybe it's like you sit looking around and a guy going, this place makes me fed up. But at the same time, being unable to put that behind you and move on because that is your norm. That is what you are. You're kind of attached to that place and to those negative emotions that are around that place. And that kind of resistance to change prevents you then from getting somewhere better to live. Like I said, it's just one example popping into my head. There's loads of situations out there where the same principle can be applied. This idea of the attachment as something that you think you need, but it's not actually doing you any good. Or it could be old beliefs, limiting beliefs and fears that need to die in order for you to move forward. Your belief that you can't do something, belief that you're not strong enough to do something. And if that belief is strong enough, it will keep you stuck and keep you safe, I suppose, but prevent you from achieving your true potential. If we want our lives to change, something somewhere on the lines has to give. We have to make that the space for that something new to come in. If we carry on in the same routines and the same beliefs, the same patterns, the same habits, nothing will change, and we can sit there sort of feeling dissatisfied with whatever it is, or what we have or what we don't have. But unless we physically and actively do something to change, that will just carry on. And so it's this death process is about finding what it is that we need to let go of, to release, to put to one side, to create that space to let the new good stuff come in. It's not always easy. It can be very hard. Sometimes the things that we need to let go of are things that we believe are a fundamental part of us, a story that we've been telling ourselves for decades, as to who we think we are. So there's an element of pain, and that's why I say this death process can be painful, because we're having to detach and break off from something that we think is important. So that element of sacrifice, letting go of something that we think is important in order to have something better. And I suppose actually in some ways that's really exactly where I'm at personally at the moment. I've we've given up, work-wise, we've given up a workshop that was perfectly adequate for our needs. We've given up a home that was comfortable, granted not far from perfect. I was dissatisfied with it on a regular basis, but it was comfortable and safe and secure. And we've given up our friends and our familiarities. We've come somewhere completely different, completely new, and we're living in a tent and working out the back of a van. So it feels like we've made this massive sort of sacrifice, and that's quite difficult sometimes. In some ways it's been an exciting week, but it's been an exhausting week as well. But it's that sacrifice that we knew we needed to make in order to create something bigger and something better, to create our interpretation of heaven on earth. So hopefully that gives you an example. You don't need to do anything as drastic as, giving up your home and going and living in a tent. That's really not what I'm saying. But maybe you can have a look at and examine your own life, and it can be literally something as simple as giving up a belief about yourself. Well, I say something as simple, but that's actually quite hard to do sometimes. What it means is it doesn't have to be something massively obvious, massively grand or dramatic that you're changing or that you're letting go of. Just something that is meaningful to you. Because this energy can create endings whether you like it or not, and it's the thing with learning the calendar in this way is that it is much easier, maybe not easier, healthier, if you can work with the energy instead of fighting against it, because quite often this energy will just instigate change whether or not you're ready for it, and if that happens it can just throw your world upside down or feel like that. But if you're kind of half prepared and willing to work at it and willing to give up and make those sacrifices and identify where your attachments are holding you back, then you've got a better chance of navigating your way through the energy instead of it coming as a bit of a shock. So it's about stepping up and dealing with stuff. Instead of just waiting for the universe to throw things at you and enforce this change, taking the time to have a look at your life, have a look at where you are, look back at any journey you've done over the last 2 weeks about what you want to create and think, right, okay, well, what's in the way, what's stopping me, what's preventing this from happening, and that's what we need to be exploring over the next 2 weeks. All the white signs are about clarity, finding focus. So it flows on quite nicely from the previous 2 weeks. Okay, lovelies, I hope that's of interest to you. One little sidey sales note: if you are following these videos and finding it of any interest, I am currently offering discounts on my personal energy report. So with a personal energy report, what we do first of all is go through the calendar and check your understanding of it and make sure that the whole concept makes sense. But then I also will look up your own personal signs and your own codes, and there's 2 or 3 different elements of that we can look at and see what that means for you. Your energy codes quite often will highlight where your personal gifts lie, your personal challenges, and what you were put on this planet to do or to achieve. So if you're interested in that, please just drop me a message. And like I say, I'm running a promotion, I think, until the end of this current mini cycle, so about another 6 weeks, because this is a really good time to be exploring these kind of themes. So I'm going to doing 25% off the usual prices. If you're interested, drop me a message and we'll take it from there. Lovely. Otherwise, have a great couple of weeks. I'm going to go and recharge my batteries, and I will be back with you again very soon.